Hey, what's up, people? This is another savage breakdown of fighters, and today we're gonna talk about Justin Gaethje and the evolution of Gaethje since his tenure in the UFC has started. And what I love most about Gaethje is that he has really revolutionized the way that his savantry since he's been working with Trevor Whitman. So before, Gaethje was mainly just like put his head down, put the arms up in a basically like mummy type shield, get into guys, kick, throw punches, and basically try to brutalize guys till he knocked them out. But as he learned and expanded his game through his time with the UFC, he's really revolutionized the way he's been fighting. Because after losses to guys like Poirier and Eddie Alvarez, he realized I can't just sit there and brawl with these guys. I got to have a more scientific approach. So we're gonna go over a little bit of some of the skills that Gaethje has been demonstrating and changed his style as time has gone on when he's been training with Trevor Whitman. So in this particular fight, we're watching him fight Eddie Alvarez. As you can see, they're deep in the third round. He's very tired. But a lot of his games, he doesn't really utilize wrestling as much. It's more of just defensive wrestling that he utilizes more so. And one of the interesting things that I see with Gaethje is that he's willing to take a lot of shots, and he's always throwing leg kicks. He's always putting leg kicks in there, always trying to beat that guy's leg out. Those a lot of great uppercuts. And one of the interesting facts about Gaethje is that he has really poor eyesight. So a lot of his fighting and infighting is a lot of just feel and get himself in range, throwing leg kicks, putting up the guard, and merely just throwing blows. And he dropped Eddie Alvarez a lot of times with these leg kicks. You'd see him just always throwing leg kicks, staying inside. But one of his great weaknesses is he forces himself into a lot of brawls. And when you're fighting the UFC, these brawls are not going to be good for you in the long term. So one of the things he's really been changing with his style, and you'll start to notice this in his later fights with, especially with Khabib and especially with Tony Ferguson, which I think is his best performance of date, is that he starts to utilize a lot more side-to-side movement, a lot of more head movement, and he's able to utilize his fighting style with a lot more like scientific approach to it. So one particular scene, I like this sequence with him fighting early on. So a great fight that I really have a great appreciation for is this fight with Dustin Poirier. And seeing this Poirier fight, what Gaethje really likes to do is he basically will just get into your range, shell up, and then he'll utilize leg kicks and he'll just start throwing hooks and uppercuts. And he's not really utilizing jabs or anything of that nature. He's just like, let me get into you. Let me see if I can touch you. And he's just throwing hooks and bombs and wide shots. Now, this is good. And it's very useful. But the problem is he's taking a lot of damage to begin with, at least within the fight. And so you'll see he's always throwing hooks. He's always looking to trade. And that's a big problem. He's always looking to trade. And like I said earlier in my analysis, trading is not a good tool to try to use. So he'll shell up and see, like the thing with MMA is that the gloves are much smaller. So those shots are always coming in. Like they're not always shielding yourself. And so you look, he's very susceptible to hooks and crosses from the outside of the gloves, and people can sneak into a lot of body shots. And you especially notice in the Eddie Alvarez fight, he took a lot of body damage in that fight, and he tries to mitigate it with the leg kicks to keep guys honest, to keep them balanced, and for them to lose power. And that's one of his sneaky attacks that he's very good. I think he's going to have a lot of success when he fights Chandler, is that he's always sneaking in these leg kicks. And Chandler, my recent breakdown, Chandler likes to keep that a very wide karate stance. He likes to blitz. So his lead leg is always out there to get kicked. But it doesn't work so much for guys like Poirier or Eddie Alvarez, which are much more squared up boxer type of guys, where they can kind of keep that leg out of range. Another drastic improvement that we see within Justin Gaethje's fighting style, especially when he fought Tony Ferguson, which is what I think is his best performance to date, is you see a lot of more utilization of the jab. You see him staying outside in range. He's not just going to brawl. He's looking to counter. He's using leg kicks to set up his kicks, to set up his punches much better. And he's able to put a different pressure on guys. So guys are still looking for leg kick, but he's not making himself so much hittable. And that's really where you see where Trevor Whitman's played a major role and factor into like Justin Gaethje's his attack method. So he's using like head movement. He's playing a lot more of a like feint game. He's giving better looks. He's getting a side to side movement. He's not just walking in on guys, taking damage, and he's playing the game a lot smarter. And see, Tony Ferguson is a very difficult guy to read. There's a lot of different reads, but what Gaethje allows is he gives them a lot more space, a lot more lateral movement, and you see Tony Ferguson whiffing a lot. So instead of just blitzkrieging and going in and just accepting the damage, he's setting up, coming in and out, giving different looks, setting up the leg kicks, and then he's attacking after he sees the whiff, which is a new addition that you notice within Gaethje, which is a great improvement. And so he's not taking as much damage. He's much fresher as the rounds go on. It's a great improvement just in his fight style and his whole entire game that he's using. Now, a major improvement that we see in Gaethje's game is his fight with Khabib. Now, even though he lost his fight to Khabib pretty handily, we still saw a lot of scientific games that were going on, a lot of evolution within his striking. See, he gave Khabib a lot of problems on the feet. And even though Khabib has that heavy wrestling, he kept a lot of distance. He kept his hips back to prevent the takedown. Khabib ate a lot of leg kicks in his game, and he caught a lot of shots. Now, Khabib is tough as nails, and he was able to basically get him down and get to the submission eventually. But I saw a lot of great things, a lot of lateral movement, a lot of head movement, a lot of setup strikes, feints, getting out of range, resetting. And it's just a massively improved Gaethje. And I think this is going to be real handy when it comes to Michael Chandler because he's not as hittable. And now he's making himself not as hittable. He's getting his hips out the way. And Chandler, although he is a great wrestler, he does not utilize his wrestling as much as he necessarily does. He uses most of his wrestling to set up strikes. So I think this is going to be a great matchup for Gaethje, simply because that lead leg is always there to kick. And Gaethje's a wonderful leg kicker and a wonderful body setup. And he just shows a lot more elusiveness. So I'm really looking forward to this fight because I think Gaethje can really get him on the advantage simply because the new improved striking, the better head movement, getting out of the way to big blows. And we know for a fact Gaethje can take a shot. So I'm very interested to see how this matchup plays. Is Chandler going to try to utilize that wrestling? Is Gaethje going to pressure? We got a lot of good things to look forward to. So look out for my next breakdown. We're going to talk a little bit more about, because that was a great shot. Yeah, there's a lot of good things to look forward to. I'm interested to see how Gaethje is involved, especially training with Kamaru Usman, which is a major advantage for him, at least as far as the striking department and getting used to elite wrestling and just fighting with a bigger man. So, I'm going to go advance a little bit more, and we're going to see what this fight's going to turn out to be.